So that's where we use on.
Hello everyone. Sorry I'm late.
Hello, good morning, sir. Hello, everyone.
We'll get started. So anyway, today we'll see. We have any questions so far on what we have done so far?
No, sir, all good. Yeah,
All joins, everything is clear?
yeah.
Okay. So we'll talk about what we call database objects. One second. Okay, we'll talk about database. Okay, we'll talk about database objects. Okay. Now, of course, we have spoken about table. What is a table? Logically stores data in the database. So data table is the only place where you will store data. Okay, so all the data is stored in the table itself. Whatever we'll talk about now is going to use data from the table. Okay, so why we say logically? Logically, because of course the data is stored in files, right? It will not be stored in table, but this is the logical view of the data, right? So logically, so table stores data in the database. Okay. Next that we talk about is called a view. Okay. View is like a table, okay, but doesn't store the data. What does that mean? It means, okay, it is a like a table means when I say like a table, what it does mean? It means that it will have row and column. It will have
Okay.
data. But data is actually stored in some different table. You're only getting a view of that. So,
Okay.
right. So let's say you have a table, employee table. An employee table has name, date of birth, location, number of children, address, phone number, all those things. And also it has salary, bonus, okay? It also has few other things. Now let's say if you want to give access to people from HR department. So to give access to people from HR department, they don't need to know the salary, for example, let's say. They only need to know your address, your children, and things like that. So I'll create an employee table where I'll put all the information, salary, everything. But I'll create a view on it called as employee one or employee HR or something. And the people from HR department, I'll give access to only this view.
Certain columns.
Certain columns and certain rows also you can add. But mostly it was certain columns. So the HR people will not know that employees table exists. They will not have access to the employees table. They will only have access to the employee one or employee HR. You can get one more view on it for finance department. You can create one more view on it for somebody else, managers, IT department. So you can create multiple views, okay? And this we are doing for data protection. Okay, because you don't want to expose all the data to everyone, you are creating a view. From a user perspective, when you do all the querying that we did, right? So query does not differentiate between table or view. Okay, because we select star from employees, select star from employees HR, select star from employees. So there is no difference between the way you use view or a table. But difference is view is just a what we call as a subset of main table. Data will reside in table, but view will give you just a view of it. Okay, just a snapshot, not snapshot, just a access to the subset of the data.
Can we call it as an overview of the?
No, it's view only, not overview.
But,
Overview means what? See, if you write one page, okay, ask you overview, you will talk to me everything in short. But this is not about everything. This is only a subset. Particular, yes. So overview means you give the overview of entire thing, right? No, but here it is only subset of the data. Okay. Then you have procedures and functions. Okay. Procedures are programs. SQL queries that we have been doing so far are all one-liners. SQLs are only one-liner. We never wrote two lines together. It is always one-line program. When you have multiple SQL to execute, multiple lines, okay, like a program basically, that's when we use procedure. Procedure is function. There is a slight difference between function and procedure. Function is also like procedure. Only difference is function will return a value. So when you call a function, you will get something back. Okay, procedure does not return. So function will always have return type. No, function will always have return type. Procedure will never have return type. Okay, so view procedure functions. Okay, multi-line code. Okay, you'll write multiple lines. So for example, okay, I want to perform 3 different steps. Okay, so I'll put 3 queries and call it a procedure. Procedure is giving a name. You define procedure and then you put 3 names. Now, when you call that procedure, when you call, let's say, create a procedure 1, where I've given 3 lines of code. So when I call procedure, all those 3 lines will get executed. All those 3 lines will get executed. Function is it will execute those 3 lines, but it will also return some value to you. What kind of value it will return? It will, let's say I want to perform some operation and I want to know how many rows got affected. I want to return to the main program. So you can do that using function. So you have views, stored procedure functions. You have something called as triggers. Now these are not important for us because we are not going to use it as a data analyst. Okay.
Okay.
Triggers are designed at the time of creating the database, when you design the database. Now, you want some certain action to happen automatically. Procedure and functions, okay, you have to call it. You have to explicitly call it. If I don't execute procedure, you define procedure and you leave it. Only when you call it, the procedure will execute. Procedure will perform whatever it is meant to perform. But triggers are automatically fired or automatically executed. So triggers are in a way like procedure that it will have body, but it also will have one thing like triggered on when. When should it trigger? So you can say trigger this when insert on employees. That means whenever you perform insert operation on employees, this trigger will automatically execute. So you have to give the condition when trigger should trigger. Okay, trigger should trigger on delete on employees, select on employees, insert on employees, update on employees, delete on employees. Okay, so for example, let's say you have main employees table and you also want to maintain 2 other table related to employees. You want to store, let's say, citizen versus non-citizen. Just saying some example. Let's say you're running a company in India and you want to see how many employees are citizen of India and how many of them are not. So see, there is no point of making two insert, right? You want to maintain one main table and one secondary table for non-employees, let's say, non-citizen employees, right? So there are two tables, right? So if non-employee, non-citizen employee joins, you have to make entries in two different tables, correct? One in main table and one in non-citizen table. So instead of writing two insert here, what you can do is you can write a trigger. Trigger, how many trigger you need? You need trigger for all the things. Insert, update, delete for all the three. Okay. So when there is a insert, whenever there is a new data adding in employees, the trigger should trigger. Trigger will check the condition, and if it is non-citizen, it will automatically fire insert query on other table. So you are not doing two insert, you are doing only one insert, but trigger will track, okay, and then it will fire insert automatically on non-citizen table. Now let's say you want to delete it from the main table. If you delete from main table, you have to delete from other table also. So again, you can have one more trigger saying trigger on delete on employees. So whenever you say delete employees, the trigger will get activated and it will execute whatever logic you add. So logic could be if deleted employees is non-citizen, fire same query on non-citizen table. So trigger will have condition, okay, based on which it will automatically execute. Okay, automatically it will execute. Okay, that's how trigger works. Okay, so this is trigger. And the last one we'll talk about is called index. Index we have already discussed, right? What is index? What is index? Index is making a table. Index is also like a table, which will have only two columns. One column is the index on which column you create. So I told you by default, index are created on primary key. So even if you don't create index, automatically index on primary key will be created. So primary key, so one column will have primary key, a second column will have the direct memory location. Okay, and the index will be arranged in the increasing order of the value. Even if you enter employee number 105 first and then 101, then 1010, 102, 103, index will rearrange this in the increasing order. And it will maintain that direct memory location. So when you perform where clause, mainly when you do search, it will go and check in the index and directly it will fetch, it will go. Right? If I tell you, oh, okay, go to this city, and if you don't know that city, okay, let's say Hyderabad, I'll tell you, go to Banjara Hills, and you don't know where is Banjara Hills. What will you do? Every kilometer you'll go and ask, is it Banjara Hills? Is it Banjara Hills? Right? It will take long time. But when you have index, okay, Banjara Hills is 6 kilometers from here. Then directly you will go and you will land up there. So index like in book you have index, same thing, page number. Page number is the memory location. And index will be arranged in increasing order, like alphabetical order it will have. So it makes searching faster. So index automatically in primary key is created. You can also create index on any other column. So whenever there is a search, okay, let's say you will be doing a lot of salary related search. Then you can create an index on salary also. Okay, you can create index on salary. So depends upon like phone number. You want to do search on phone number. You can create index on phone number. So searching will become faster. That's why we create index. So let's see an example here. I'm going to create a view. Okay. So create a view is like creating a table, right? Of course, but it will have, but the data it will not have, right? It will have to connect to some other table. So create view, okay? You give view name. So I'm saying, okay, let me first use. Right, what is the spelling? I don't see it, huh? No,
Oh,
I mean,
Mart.
here I missed a. Okay, so create view, I'll say EMP HR or something. Okay, okay, and then as. Create view EMP HR as. Okay, now you give the command. So I'll say select. Okay, select what all columns you want. You want select EMP ID, comma EMP name, comma phone, comma email.
Email.
Okay, select this from employees. So create view EMP HR, okay, and select, okay. Now when you run it, okay, and successfully created, okay. Okay, see, view got created here. And inside view, you have EMP HR. So once you create like this, now you can use it like a table. EMP HR, okay. Nobody will know that it is not a table, but it's only a view. So see, only these columns we got.
Okay.
Now let's say I want to create, or you can restrict the rows also. Let's say I want to create HR Miapur. Now, if I want to create HR Miapur, I don't have to have all the employees. I can give condition where location, right?
You're right.
Location equal to 1. Now, created, right? Okay. So now you can apply everything that we discussed yesterday, or not yesterday, since till yesterday, whatever we discussed. Where clause, aggregate, everything.
Where
Okay. You will look like a
order
table.
by, group by.
But data is not stored here. Data is stored in the
Table.
table. Yeah. So here you see only 6 rows got selected because only 6 rows has department location 1. So this is how you create view.
Okay.
Okay. Hmm. So let's say we create one sample procedure also. So to create procedure, you have to say create. Okay, whether table, procedure, functions, you have to use create. Create what? Procedure.
Procedures.
Then you give a procedure name. I'll call it as call employees. Okay, call employees. You give this one. Now, okay, to indicate begin and end of procedure, you will give command here begin and you will give command here end. All your logic will be between begin and end. Okay, so it's like procedure, create procedure, begin and end block, and this will have the logic. Okay, you can write multiple lines of code, you know. So for now, let's say I give this query only. Okay. And um, now see here, delimiter. What is delimiter? Delimiter means how do you indicate end of line, right? Now, what are we using delimiter as? Semicolon. Now,
Right.
since we are writing a command here, SQL command here, we have to, let's say here we have only one, but you might have 2 or 3 SQL command. So if you give semicolon here, then it will assume that this is entirely one command from
Okay.
create to semicolon. It will not think end as another line. See, if let's say I'm asking you to write a sentence in English. Right? I like to watch now dot stop serial. Okay. Now, if I give it to you, what would you think? You will think that I like, okay. I like to watch now is one sentence, correct? And
Correct.
stop serial is
Another
another,
sentence.
right? Because that's why we use full stop as delimitation or end of line. But let's say no stop is a serial name only. No dot stop is serial name. What you should do? So, no, how can you differentiate? Your name is Hari. Can I write something other spelling? This is the name of the serial, right? How can I change to something else? No dot stop is the name of the serial. So why should I remove name? How can I change the name? I don't like Hari, so I'll call you something else. This is the name, right? I cannot change it. This is the name. How can you change the name of the serial?
Correct.
Correct? So you have to use it like this only, no? Because this is how this is the name. This is the name of the serial. If you change it, it becomes something else.
Yes.
Right? So you can't change it. So what you will do here, you will say that treat this as end of line. So you're saying,
Okay.
see, there is some problem here. So from now on, treat this as end of line, not dot as end of line. And then end of line is here actually, correct? So I'll put here. And then say, now, from now on, treat dot as end of line. So you are changing temporarily. Temporarily, you are saying that double hash should be end of line.
And
So that when you
End of
see
line,
this,
right.
you don't consider this as end of line. You will look for, and once your work is done, I'll say, okay, now normal. So you have to indicate that treat dot as end of line. So problem here is semicolon is what we treat as end of line. So
correct.
users will start treating this as end of, I mean, not users, MySQL will start treating this as end of line, and it will think that this entire thing is one query. And when I run it, okay, obviously you can see red cross, right? Something wrong. Error.
Yes.
So what I have to say, I have to first say, okay, delimiter. Delimiter, okay, this one. And then I'll say here. So now I'm saying this is not your delimiter. This is not your end of line. Your end of line is here. So now this entire thing will be treated as, and yeah. And now if I try to do this here, okay, so let's say I run, right, green tick successfully. You can go and refresh here. You see, call employees. The stood that created is here. But now if I try to run select EMPHR, what happens? Okay, you got the result. But what you can do is, you can again say here, delimiter, semicolon. To
Okay.
indicate that, okay, done. Now take semicolon itself as end of line.
End of the.
So temporarily you are saying double hash is delimiter. So something, okay, you can use anything, hyphen, but double hyphen is for comment, right? So you have to be careful about it. Okay. So this is okay. So this is how you created stored procedure. But how do I execute it? Right? So to execute it, I have to say call. Okay. So create
Call.
procedure name is the syntax for creating procedure. And when you want to call it, you will say call employees. Home, and whatever you have written inside will be executed. So here we have only one command, right? Now let's say I put another command. Now, if I try to run this, what happens? Cross. Why? It is already existing. I'm creating another procedure called employees which already exists.
Exist.
Okay, you try to create another table. You try to create another view. It will not work because view HR is already created.
Right.
Right? So you can't create one more. So you have to say replace or drop.
Drop.
So
Yes.
to drop it, you'll say drop procedure. This should be evolved, right? Okay. I think semicolon is not, sorry, bracket is not required. Yeah. Okay. So procedure got deleted. Now you create, okay. So if you want to change it, you have to first drop existing one, then you create it.
Create.
Okay, now I have two here, right? So now when I say call employees, so you should get two tables here. Okay, result 5 and result 6. This is your department 1, this is department 2. So two results we got because we have put two select here. So this is how your stored procedures work. With that, we complete our SQL discussion. Tomorrow we'll start with Excel.
All right.
Any questions so far? If no, we'll end it here. Please practice and I'll catch you tomorrow, same time. We'll do SQL. Right?
Okay, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
We'll stop here.
All right.
See you tomorrow. Okay?
Sure.